Everybody. Welcome to day 3, week 3. It's our third day where we are working on our Terracotta Warrior. Where we left off last time, we got the arms and the collar done, and the nose, eyeballs, upper eyelid. And now we're going to continue with the face first thing here today. So let's first tackle the lower eyelids, which is actually going to be kind of a review because it's the exact same way as how we did the upper. So remember, our eyeballs, even on our real face, are underneath our eyelids, right? And our eyelids are just really thin pieces of skin. And so just like that, we're going to make a really thin piece of clay to be our lower eyelid. When we did the upper eyelid, we didn't care about any of the sides except for the bottom one. We wanted to have a little curve to it. Now when we do the lower eyelid, we're not going to care about any of the sides, but this upper part, we're going to want to have this little curve in it because that is going to lay across there. So I'm making my tiny slab by pressing it in between my fingers. Again, these sides I'm not really worried about, but the top, I want to have that little curve for where it's going to lay over the eyeball. Just as I'm kind of testing it right now, I'm realizing I've got a lot of extra clay here around the nose. I'm going to trim that before I actually attach this, just because I don't want to interfere with all of that work that I did on the nose already. So I'm just kind of making sure it fits a little bit better, right? I got rid of some of that clay. I might even get rid of a little bit more. There we go. So now we can see I've got my little slab kind of shaped. Look, I could get rid of all of this stuff too if I really wanted. And now I'm ready to scratch and score and connect it on there. So we are going to scratch and score the bottom part on the face. I'm doing a little bit on the eyeball, but that might be excessive. Just on the bottom part. And then very carefully on the back side of this little slab that I made. And then my clay's feeling pretty soft, so I don't really feel like I need to add water. I'm going to carefully lay it on there. Kind of press it into place. And then remember, I can blend all the sides of that slab, have them disappear. And then inside the nose part here seems a little bit more fragile, or I don't know, detailed. So I'm going to go in with a different tool and kind of blend and get that pressed into place. But overall, the technique is totally the same. The only thing that's different is we kind of got to work around the nose a little bit. Getting some clay crumbs stuck in the eye. Yeah, the only thing we really have to worry about is trying to work around the nose. Otherwise, everything is the same as that upper eyelid that we did earlier. And there we have it. We've got an eye with both an eyelid on the top and the bottom. Rather than show you the left side, I'm going to kind of just keep on cruising through here because there's a lot of little details that we're going to work on today. If you need to re-watch the demo for the left side, pause it, go back in the video. But for now, we're going to move on. Okay, the next facial feature that we're going to add that a lot of students tend to forget are eyebrows. They help really frame the face. As you can see here in one of my samples, I like to add a little bit of clay for the eyebrow. And then once I put it on there, it's kind of like a super tiny coil. And then I like to take my needle tool and put some texture in it for the hairs. So we'll do that super quick. I'm taking, again, we're working at such a small level, taking a really tiny, tiny piece of clay and rolling it into a little coil. This one's a little long. I can get rid of some of the sides. So a really tiny piece of clay. It's a little coil, but I can start to add, you can shape it a little bit, make parts of the eyebrow thicker than others. But really, we just want to get the clay on there, and then once it's there, we're able to kind of adjust and add that texture. So now that I've got it made, I'm going to scratch and score super carefully. We're working on such a small level. And press it on. Just by attaching it, it's not going to like stick out against the face as much. Right, it got a little flatter. That's what I meant to say. Got a little flatter. I can take my tools and kind of reshape it once it gets on there. Blend it in. But once it's on, our eyebrows do have hair on them, right? So now that it's there, I like to add the texture on top of it that show it's an eyebrow. Now that I added the texture, it's looking a little wide. I think I need to kind of narrow it down. So I added texture. Now I'm going to kind of even reshape it even more. There we go. I'm using this like curved side of my wooden modeling tool. That seems to be working better and leaving it smooth. So there we go. Chugging along here, eyelids, eyebrow. Now we're going to switch on over to the ear. Ears are another thing that a lot of students tend to forget, but a huge part of understanding the face. So let's look at the sample ears. This is another one where it's like we're just adding small pieces of clay, and then we can kind of put in the details, shape them, kind of, I don't know, do I call it like an ear canal, right? Kind of the cutout parts of the ears we can figure out. So what I'm going to do on the side of the face is take a little piece of clay. Again, we're just working at this micro level. And I'm going to try and shape it into what I think is an ear shape, right? So it's kind of got a curve. It almost reminds me of like an upside down teardrop shape, right? I can press it between my fingers, make it a little flatter. If you're not happy with the shape, you could always trim it too with your needle tool, right? And kind of cut parts of it off. But I'm pretty happy with that shape. I'm going to put it on there and kind of blend part of it. Again, scratching, scoring the head and the back of the ear. And then I can place it on there. Looking up pictures of ears, I totally recommend. So look, I'm just blending this left side, so it looks like it's kind of coming out of the face, but I'm leaving this side raised. But yeah, looking up pictures of an ear on your phone, totally helpful, right? If you're at home and you have a mirror, you can always look at your own ears in the mirror. So I'll be able to trim it down. And actually, my clay is so soft right now, I think it's going to be a little hard to add the details of like the ear canals, but you can go ahead and try. But see, it's kind of just making a lot of crumbs. So I'm probably going to come back to the ear. I'm going to let that dry and get a little bit more solid. But overall, we've got the ear on there. Now that I look at it from this profile, I feel like it's sticking out too much over here. I need to trim some of that. It's always good to look at your work from different angles, right? So I thought from this side, the ear looked pretty good. got it this way, it was like a little funky. So again, I'm going to go in and do more of the details once it gets a little drier, but my clay is very plastic right now. Very soft. But there we've got the start of an ear. It's really just making a little slab almost into an ear shape and attaching it. Okay, now what I think is the hardest part, I'm not going to lie, is the mouth, right? Trying to get lips figured out is really tricky. When you look up pictures of like close-ups of the faces of these terracotta warriors, you can get some good inspiration for what a mouth would look like. But again, the lips are really hard to do. Personally, and what I have done on all of my samples is I have gone the mustache route. And that seems to make things a lot easier. So that's what I'm going to demo now. Again, the mouth is just, if you're trying to do lips, of course, go ahead and tackle it if you're really set on wanting to do that. But my recommendation for this, we've already got so much detail on here, is to kind of go with more of a mustache. Before I start, I'm going to build up a little bit more of a chin, right? We've got some dimension on the face here, but I think having a chin, if we look at the side profile, like look how flat the face is in the bottom. So I'm just going to scratch and score before I do the mustache. And then I'm going to add some clay right here, kind of like what we did with the Rudolph nose, right? Where we just get the clay on there first. And then I'm going to blend it in and make it look more normal. So I'm going to take this little ball of clay. I scratched and scored where the chin area is. I'm going to scratch and score this, press it on, and then I can kind of like shape and form it. But I think it's just going to give the face a little bit more shape. Before I start the rest of it. It's subtle, right? Like, but if we look at the side profile, we can kind of see that coming out this way. So I've got it blended in, and now that gives me the perfect little area to add the mustache and maybe the bottom lip. So with the mustache, it's kind of going to be the exact same way as the eyebrow, right? Where I'm going to start with a little coil because it's like little hair on your face, right? It's super similar. I'm going to start with a little coil. I might even do one side at a time, right? So like one, lay it on there instead of trying to do this in one coil. Yeah, I'm going to try that. Make this a little bit thinner. Again, go off of look up some pictures online. I just have them pulled up on my screen, but I can't figure out how to share it with you while also doing my doc cam. So I'm just going to attach some little coils up top here, and they're going to get pressed and flattened down, just like how the eyebrow did. And then once they get attached, I'm going to add in the texture of the hair that makes up the mustache. Like, I'll do this side first. Kind of press it down into place. See, already it's getting bigger once I get it on there. Same on the left. Pressed on. And now that they're there, I'm going to add the texture of the little hairs. And I've got a little mustache. I have to reshape it a little bit. Not bad. So that's it for the face. Next video, I'm going to show you the hair and some more details on the armor.